Okay, Kaseya, you made several, I think, major announcements, call them at DattoCon 2025. Uh, Everything from the, I think, Datto Series 6 to the Inky acquisition. So I suppose before we drill down a little bit into individual announcements, just collectively, how do you think the innovations strengthen Kaseya's position in terms of being a leading end-to-end IT security platform for MSPs?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, we announced several innovative new features at DattoCon Miami in October. At right now, I have to say, Phil, that we feel really good about where we are in our innovation cycle, what we've been able to do, over the last, 6 to 8 months, and then, more importantly, what we have on the roadmap for the end of this year and certainly for 2026. So you mentioned, backup. We also previewed the cyber resilience platform that we anticipate having, features from by Q2 of 26. You mentioned the Inky acquisition, which we're all very excited about. The response has been overwhelming from our customer base. So that's been fantastic to see. And they have a really robust roadmap as well. So really excited about how we're going to integrate Inky into the rest of the security suite here at Kaseya. We also talked about our digital workers platform, which is ultimately our AI initiative, and what that means for our customers in the second half of 26. In Q2, we're gonna launch some features from the digital worker platform, and you'll get a glimpse at that point in real life, what that type of capability can provide for our customers. We previewed it again at DattoCon, but you'll see features and functions from that platform in Q2.
Excellent. And I know at the event, Rania Sikar mentioned or said that MSPs are a once in a generation crossroads. From your perspective, how is Kaseya helping partners capitalize on, I guess, what everyone knows is this sort of AI-driven transformation opportunity?
Yeah, so one of the things that Rania talked about at DattoCon and subsequently in Australia, where we both spoke at the keynote there as well at Connect APAC. One of the great things about Kaseya is that we have so many products. That means we have a lot of data, and we're able to integrate a lot of functionality into a platform. And the entire plan around our AI initiative is how we bring this data together to create one single platform that generates a lot of benefit for our customers. We don't longer term, we see the platform as capabilities. Customers opt into those capabilities. We're not just seeing them as products and delivering outcomes, because ultimately that's what we're all here to do. Our customers want to deliver outcomes to their end users, and that's what we're empowering. We're doing it with the data set that we have, obviously, that we're going to secure and anonymize and serve up in aggregated format. So organizations can see trends and benefit from the machine learning behind the scenes in our AI initiative. So it's really exciting times. That the benefit that, again, we provide is something that I think is unparalleled in terms of when you look at the industry, just based on the breadth of the platform, the capabilities that we currently have and that we can bring to our customers.
Yeah, and perhaps to that point, we can look at some of the solutions that were discussed, launched, or previewed, as you say, at the event. And I know the new Datto Series 6 being described as the most powerful and cost-efficient recovery appliance in the market. I suppose the obvious question would be what makes the launch such a such a breakthrough for the MSPs and their SMB customers.
Yeah. So first of all, it's a form factor, the desktop version of it that a lot of folks have been asking for. So we brought it back. It's also, you know, about 50% faster than anything else on the market today. And one of my favorite benefits of it is, the you can back up anywhere between 2 TB of data to 24 TB of data on the same device. So MSPs, IT managers in general, right? They have lots of different use cases that they have to accommodate for within the customers that they serve. So, and they all range from a lot of different sizes in terms of what their requirements are from a backup perspective. The ability to put one box on site that goes from 2 to 24, that level of flexibility accommodates for a lot of different use cases, which gives, our end customer, our MSP partners a lot of flexibility in how they deliver this solution.
Okay, so Datto backup for Microsoft Entra ID, I think that's a completely new offering. Be good to understand, I suppose, why identity backup is emerging as such a critical need at the current time, and how it and maybe the Series 6 as well, fit into Kaseya's broader cyber resilience strategy.
Yeah, so let's talk about Entra first, and then we'll talk about the broader strategy. So identity, identity data, that's what bad actors are looking for, right? When they attack an organization, they're looking for the identities of folks so they can deploy their attacks. So being able to back that data up and have it in the case of emergency is becoming a significant need, and our customers were asking for it, and we wanted to deliver it. So, and we've made it widely available to our customers. So if you're on our Kaseya 365 user platform today, we've actually included Entra ID backup for free. If you're on one of our existing cloud or SaaS-based backup solutions, either SaaS protection or spanning, you'll get Entra ID free for 6 months. We believe that this is such a value that we want to make sure that we're providing it to as many customers as possible. And obviously, free is easy. I go back to the days when, Microsoft 365 first came out, and customers were saying, hey, I don't need to back up my 365 data, right? They were like, it's in Microsoft, it's in the cloud, it's all good. But we've come to find out that, that's not a viable backup plan, right? Depending on the license type for Microsoft, they're going to essentially back up your data from 7 to 90 days. But there's so many different use cases where you're going to need to go back a lot further than that. So now, 365 backup is a monster business. There's so many companies that do it. I equate Entra ID backup to 365 backup. I believe Entra ID will be as much of a need, maybe more, than backing up 365 data has been in the past. So I think that this is going to be an emerging solution that a lot of MSPs will want to bring to their customers. And then how does like the Series 6 and Entra ID backup, how does it all fold into the cyber resilience platform? So ultimately, I mentioned use cases. And MSPs have a ton of different use cases, whether it be on-prem, appliance-based backup, cloud-based backup, SaaS-based backup. You've got certainly now Entra ID backup, endpoint backup. The average MSP uses 3.8 vendors to accommodate all those different use cases. Our cyber resilience platform and the entire genesis of it is around accommodating for all those use cases in a single platform. So it doesn't matter which use case you have. You just point the technology to that specific use case for that customer. And then we pull the storage in the back end. And we're also building in some of our cyber security products from an integration standpoint into the platform. So now you're getting backup recovery, again, regardless of the use case, pooled storage in the back end, all priced consistently across the board with cybersecurity integrated into the solution. So we are in a unique position to bring this to the market because we're the only provider in the space that actually has all of the backup assets required to meet all those use cases. So it's exciting. We're going to, again, start offering some features from this platform in Q2. But it's a really big initiative for the entire company in 2026.
Yeah, and perhaps I can follow that up because, as you say, you previewed this cyber resiliency platform, and I think you already explained how it potentially addresses things like vendor sprawl, but also this complexity and recovery speed, I think, are also important benefits. So I don't know if you want to tell us a little bit more about, I guess, what it's going to bring for the MSP experience and how it's going to simplify their lives.
Well, you're simplifying it, going from 3.8 vendors down to one,
Yeah, sure.
right? And accommodating every single use case in a single solution. So instead of bouncing around from backup and recovery solution to backup and recovery solution, you see all your clients in one spot, accommodating all those use cases in one spot, seeing all your storage usage in one spot, and all your storage, is again pooled. So we brought a number of our partners into the fold in terms of how we've developed the plan for this platform, and everyone is very enthusiastic about what we're going to be able to bring to market and ultimately the value that they'll receive from the solution.
Okay, and then we've already referenced the acquisition of Inky, and that's bringing, I think, AI-assisted email protection into Kaseya's portfolio. So just thoughts, I suppose, as to how it enhances the existing security stack, and what can partners expect from the integration over time.
Yeah. So we looked at a lot of different email security companies, you can imagine, before we decided to buy Inky. And we were most impressed with Inky based on the innovation cycles that they've had and the innovation that they've brought into their platform. The AI-assisted piece is huge. We're actually seeing, so Inky now has two different bundles, if you will. We've enhanced, they had three, we broke it down to two to give customers actually more in the advanced bundle. The Pro is where the AI functionality lives, and we're going to be building more and more into that as well. But the real exciting piece here is that, Kaseya already has, MDR, EDR, cloud detection and response, security awareness training, dark web ID, being able to take all of the signals or the events from such a fantastic email security platform and bring it in and do the event correlation along, with Inky as one solution. It's really, really powerful. And I can't think of, any other provider in the space that can bring all of it together like we can now.
Okay, and maybe the last or the last one that I've got on the list anyway, in terms of the innovations you mentioned, I think at the start of the conversation, the digital workforce, which I think is described as an agentic AI system thinking, acting like a technician. Just your thoughts as to how this will reshape how MSPs can operate and deliver support for their clients.
Yeah, when I talk about the digital worker platform and or agentic AI initiative, I really think about it in terms of labor management. Yeah, I go back to my MSP days, when I was a CEO of an MSP, and we spent a lot of time focused on utilization, capacity planning, and that's really it's a cornerstone of any well-managed MSP. And the ability to just dial up a resource to take care of specific activities that you need at a specific time uh, is really game changing. And we feel like it's going to make our MSPs significantly more profitable as they become more and more efficient. You know, and then ultimately to be able to extend that level of efficiency into their own customer base. That is going to end up being game changing for their entire practice because long term, Phil, I see the MSP becoming a utility for their end customers, just like electricity, water, gas. They won't be able to function. The end customer will not be able to function without their MSP because the MSP is allowing them to drive efficiencies into their business that they otherwise would not be able to take advantage of.
Okay, and I know one other thing you've done there in terms of helping the MSPs. I think your pricing model, you've now moved to more towards a more flexible consumption-based model. I think it'd be good to understand that any feedback you got that made that made you sort of make that change, and also again back to partner profitability. How is it going to benefit your partners?
Yeah, so there's a concept called high watermark pricing. And we get a lot of feedback from partners indicating that they didn't like the practice of high watermark pricing because every time you added additional licenses, that became your new commitment, regardless of whether or not you went below that commitment. So what we change it to is what we call CMQ, committed minimum quantity. So now, if you're an MSP, and let's just say you commit to 1,000 licenses with us, uh, then you'll be able to grow. Let's just say you add a customer that has 200 new users. You can add those 200 licenses. But that doesn't become a requirement going forward. You're still only committed to 1,000. So now you can grow your business without any lock-ins contractually going forward with us. So it provides a lot more flexibility for the MSPs to be able to grow the way they want to grow with us.
Okay, and I don't know if you want to say anything more because obviously these announcements um, focus a lot in terms of highlighting, faster revenue growth and higher margins for your MSPs, in the ways that they translate into, real world business outcomes. I mean, you mentioned obviously flexibility there, etc. But just, I don't know if you've got any other thoughts as to how you think the MSPs will notice, sort of real business benefits as they go forward.
Benefits specific to the pricing piece or just in general?
No, just in general, as I say, all the things you're doing, you seem to be tr trying, if not, well, succeeding in enabling faster revenue growth, higher margins for your MSP. So just in terms of how that translates into their businesses, I guess. What are you anticipating?
Yeah, Phil, one of the concepts that I talk a lot about is bifocal vision. So I can say we want to make sure that we're focusing on things that we can do today that will make our MSPs better, more successful. And as we've talked about, there's very specific concrete examples of how we've been able to deliver on that over the last, 5.5 months. Releasing the Cirrus 6, Entra ID, acquiring Inky. Those are all near-term meaningful initiatives that we've undertaken on behalf of our customers. But, we have also a responsibility to look well out into the distance and make sure that we're building a platform for the future as well, and the future needs of our MSPs, and make them even more competitive in the marketplace. And that's where, the cyber resilience platform comes in. That's where the digital workers comes in. That's where enhancements to our overall cybersecurity platform come in. So when you add the innovation from a technology perspective with the evolving innovation that we're doing elsewhere at Kaseya in terms of our pricing policies, our customer support, we feel like we are doing everything we can to really enhance the overall experience that our customers have with us. And it's not any one initiative. It's just a culture of innovation everywhere. Business practices, customer experience, and of course, technology.
We've had a great conversation. Jim, thank you for sharing so many insights as to what is going on in the company and into next year as well. So appreciate your time. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you, Phil. Have a good